Good afternoon, y'all. This week we continue our series of working in the outdoor industry with another very special guest, Miss Hallie Bontrager. Unlike Jimmy from last week, she spent time guiding in a very different way. Over the last few years, she spent time as an excursions counselor at a Colorado-based summer camp. Her job is very unique in many ways and also shows the diversity of the outdoor industry. So sit back and enjoy this episode. All right, what's up, everybody? We're here today with Miss Hallie. She's going to tell us a little bit about some of the stuff she has gotten to do working in the outdoor industry. So, Hallie, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's go straight into it. Why don't you just start out with introducing yourself and kind of talking about who you are and where, I guess, life has taken you over the last few years.
Yeah, so like many of the other guys that you have on here, I also grew up in Wichita, Kansas, and we all went to high school together, which is crazy. And then I decided I wanted to get out of Kansas, and so I decided to go to school in Arkansas called John Brown University, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I actually had no clue. After high school, I was like, I'm literally not good at anything. So I have no clue what's up after this. So I found a major at this school called Outdoor Leadership Ministry, which kind of catapulted me into the whole outdoor world of things. And that was the first time I'd been around people who had so much experience in, like, backpacking, climbing, kayaking. Unfortunately, there were not a lot of hunters. Not a lot of hunters in the...
I feel like hunters kind of make their own group off the side.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Backpacking, rock climbing, what's all that? Guns.
Yeah, it's all outdoor people for sure, but yeah, different subgroups, absolutely. So, yeah, I decided to major in outdoor leadership ministry and paired that with another major called intercultural studies. So when I explain to people like what I majored in, it's kind of impossible because they're like, "Where'd you go to school?" And I'm like, "It's a small school called John Brown University in Arkansas." And they're like, "Okay, don't know what that is. What'd you major in?" I'm like, "I doubled in outdoor leadership ministry and intercultural studies." And they're like, "What did you just say?" Like,
you said a lot of words that I don't get.
I'm always like, "Okay, please prepare yourself because it's kind of long and it's kind of weird. So just like hear me out." But yeah. Being in that major, I was just surrounded with a lot of people who had way more experience in different things than I had ever experienced. I mean, we grew up in Kansas, man. Like, really, the only thing I'd experienced ever was, like, playing soccer, and then Matthew would take me fishing sometimes. And
we have great hunting here. Fishing's okay. Do we have backpacking, mountain biking, all that stuff? No.
We have one climbing gym. We have a climbing gym that opened, like, 4 years ago?
Which one are we?
Bliss.
Oh, I don't know. I know of one called the Kansas Cliff Club that Ken Old Keaton go to. It's in an
Is that in Derby?
Yeah.
I've heard of this.
Old grain silo. That's the most Kansas thing you've ever heard. A rock climbing club in a grain silo.
No, when I went to REI. I went to REI the other day, and I was talking to this girl who was, like, helping me size climbing shoes. And I was like, "Do you climb at Bliss?" She's like, "No, I climb at the silo." And I was like, "What is the silo?" And she's like, "You haven't heard of the silo?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, hello, what?" And then she explained to me. I was like, "That seems kind of dope." But
yeah,
also,
it's pretty cool. I've gotten to go a couple times with them, and I don't know. It's every time you go, you're just stunned. You walk in, and they literally in the silo tubes or whatever it is. You have random rock walls. So downstairs you have a whole setup. Then you upstairs there's another. And you have walls on the outside of the silo, and
wait, that's actually so cool.
Dude, it's epic.
Is it bouldering?
I'm not a big rock climbing guy, but even I can appreciate how cool that place is.
Maybe I'll go to the silo.
You should ask him on Keaton.
I'll go to the Derby silo.
Their brother used to be a big part of it. Like, he did a lot of stuff with them, and he would build some of their walls, and did a lot of cool stuff with them. So
cool. Maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, we veered off.
Anyways, so my sophomore year of college, I had a friend who was like, hey, you should apply to work at this camp with me in Colorado. And I was like, okay. And basically, it's called Eagle Lake. It's based in Woodland Park, kind of, which is outside of Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And so if you're driving through Woodland Park, it's pretty small, and there's one McDonald's. You take a right at the McDonald's and drive up the mountain for an hour, and there's a camp. But the job is called an excursions counselor, and so I don't really know if I can if this like qualifies as like working in the outdoor industry, but I worked at a summer camp, and so I was outside. I was in Colorado. I was with kids.
That sounds pretty outdoorsy.
It was pretty fun, but I'm like, man, it's pretty small scale when you look at the outdoor industry in total.
Yeah.
But so it's Excursions was the program I was on, and basically we just would take kids out backpacking, hiking, mountain biking, rock climbing, bouldering. I'm trying to think of other things we do. We kayaked on the lake sometimes, but it was ages 10 through 18, and so for excursions within that we have like 7 different programs, and so it kind of just like increases in difficulty as the age goes up. And so most of the stuff that we would do was on our camp property. So we had a site for bouldering and tunneling, I don't know if that's like officially a thing or if it's kind of just something we made up, but it's like a big boulder field, and you kind of we had a route that we would take, and you just kind of squeeze your body through small holes in these rocks.
Oh.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
I don't think I could do that.
There are countless stories of campers getting stuck, especially like the 10-year-olds like freaking out, because there's the very last one is called Down Chimney, and essentially what you're doing is like you're standing on this ledge in rocks, like you're not underground, but you're under rocks.
Yeah.
And this is very hard to explain. I'm trying my best. So you're like standing on this ledge, there's like a rock wall right in front of you, and you look over this ledge, and then it's just like maybe like 7 feet to like the next ledge. And what you have to do is like jam your body in between these 2 rocks in front of you, and then just like breathe out and just slide down. So
no,
it's like
no, sir.
It's like you take this is how I would do it. I would like jam my body in between these 2 rocks. It's like a V shape. And so I just like go in there, and then I just like hold my breath, because that's what like would keep me in, and then I would just like and just slide down. And then you had to like have somebody catch you, especially if you're short, because like you get to the bottom, it kind of opens up, and then there's nothing to like jam your body into, so you kind of just have to like, you can't see anything either because your face is like this close to a rock.
Stop.
So it's just like you have to just trust the person at the bottom to catch you, and that's what we would do. Like as counselors, we would be like, okay, go down this rock, and like we'll catch you at the bottom. Like don't ask questions, but we'll catch you.
This is one of those times I wish the podcast was video. Like I've thought about it, but sometimes just so people could see the faces I'm making. This sounds awful.
But it was fun. It was fun.
I'll take your word on it.
It provided a good experience for the campers, and even better experience for the counselors, because we got to laugh at the campers and guide them gently, kindly.
Oh my
be encouraging. It was a fun little mental challenge, honestly. So I actually hate tunneling. I hated doing it. I thought it was the worst. I am not claustrophobic, but there were some of them I just like literally could not get through. I eventually warmed up to it, but you know, it was a thing. So all this to say, we had a site at our camp for tunneling and bouldering, and so this was like about an hour-long hike off of our camp property. So we had I think 3 or 4 climbing sites at the camp that were just in different spots. You'd like have to hike to them. We had 1 climbing site that was off camp, so we'd have to drive there. Let me think. What else did we do? Both of our mountain biking loops were on camp. One of them was not. So it was like a mixture of like things on camp property, things not on camp property. But for older kids, we had let me think. We had about 3 programs that you get to do like 14ers. And so that was really fun because we had permits for Pikes Peak, Elbert, and Massive. No, not Elbert. Pikes Peak, Massive, and Belford and Oxford. And all of those are 14ers. So I had the privilege and the honor to hike Pikes Peak twice one summer, which honestly sucks because you can drive Pikes Peak, and then if anyone's ever been to the top of Pikes Peak, there's a donut shop on top of the mountain. It's like America's Mountain. Have you heard of this?
I mean, not really. I mean, I know Pikes Peak, but I haven't heard all this stuff of like Donut Shop and America's Mountain, all that.
I think it's called America's Mountain. I'm not sure. I would actually have to look it up. I know there's some label. But it's like the popular mountain. There's a road that you can drive up to the top, and then, yeah, there's like a donut shop on the top, but it kind of feels like a gas station, but it's on top of a 14er, so it's not a gas station. But it's like you spend this whole day hiking to the top of this mountain. You're like super excited for the view and stuff, and you get to the top, and people are like getting out of their cars. And, like, there's a gas station that sells really gross donuts.
So you guys had to hike the whole thing while everybody else drove?
Yeah, and you're walking, you're hiking along the road to the top, too. So you're watching people, like, drive up while you're hiking. Jeez. And, I mean, we signed up for this. Like, we wanted to hike it, but it's kind of just, like, demoralizing of, like, guys, can we just, like, get a ride? And then, like, when you have, like, 1/3 left, I don't know. I'd say, like, maybe, like, a 4th left. There's a parking lot where there are shuttles that anyone can take for, I think, like, $1 or $2 up to the top. And you have to walk through this parking lot of all the shuttles that we could so easily take to the top. And you're with, like, I was with, like, a bunch of, young high school girls, and they're like, can we please just take the shuttle? And we're like, no, guys, we are strong, and we are brave, and we are going to get to the top of this mountain.
Oh, my God.
We're going to do it. And so that was, like, one of the most fun things. Honestly, that was, like, those trips that I got to do. I did 2 of them my first summer, so 2018. And by the time you get to the top, you're always tired, and since it's so funny, have you ever hiked a 14er?
No.
You absolutely should.
The most I've ever done, I think, is 12. And that was actually back in September.
Where was it?
It was over in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Okay, cool.
So the main one there that you can drive up. But we drove. Yeah. We did not hike. We drove up, and then we did the little final trail that gets you to the top and be like, yep, made it 12.
We did it. Woo! No, honestly,
wow,
I feel
you guys
like
actually hiked the whole... Oh.
It's not that bad. It really isn't. I think it's a total mental game.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a total mental game because, like, it's just, like, climbing up steps for a while.
Yeah.
And it depends on the mountain that you're on, but sometimes it's, like, flat for a while. Like, there's always a section where it's just, like, straight uphill switchbacks, and that's always the worst. But then, like, once you get kind of towards the top where it's all rocky, it's, like, you're kind of just scrambling to the top, so it's kind of fun. But I think it's a total mental game. But the thing with the Pikes trips is because when you get to the top, there's, like, this donut shop thing, and there's a ton of people. It's, like, you totally... Like, for me, I was like, I am so done. I'm gonna sit in this, like, comfy booth with my donut, and I'm gonna pass out. And so, both times, like, we would get to the top. We would usually hang out at the top for a while, buy the girls donuts, whatever. We'd eat our lunch. And both times, all of us just, like, put our heads down on the table and took, like, a 30-minute nap. And that is, like, the fact that that's even, like, that's what we did is, like, we just totally clonked out. And then, like, I remember waking up and being like, oh my gosh, we still have to hike down.
Yeah.
Like, we
that's what I was just now thinking. I was like, okay, you guys made it up.
Down.
Shoot, unless you had somebody that came and got you guys, you have to make that trip down. And
yeah.
I think part of it isn't even, like, the legs and working uphill, but it's, like, for anybody who doesn't know what it's like to move in altitudes, you're going from whatever your starting point was up to 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
You're going through different altitudes, so I'm sure that alone, like,
oh yeah,
oxygen-wise is
you
why...
hit 13,000 and it just sucks the rest of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think, I don't know what ours started at. I want to say maybe like 11,000. I have no idea. I'd have to look it up. But
so you guys didn't climb all
no,
of it.
no.
I was like, ooh.
No. I think camp itself was at 9,000, maybe 9 or 10,000. I don't know. And then the trailhead, I think, was either almost to 11 or was at 11. So it's like we're only going 3,000 feet over the course of like 10 miles.
Yeah.
But it's like.
That sounds so much more doable. I was thinking you were doing.
You start at like
you're at
one.
The base.
No.
Or minimum, you're a few thousand feet up because you're up in Colorado. And you're like,
no.
looking at the mountain like, here we go, dude. 14,000 feet.
I would never. That would be so awful.
That's why I was over here cringing. I was like, 14,000 feet, that's insane. No, you got, okay.
I think Colorado Springs in itself is at 5,000.
Well, that's
Denver's
what I was saying.
at 5,000.
You're in Colorado, so you're starting at a certain point, but I was, okay.
5,000, oh my gosh, that'd be 9,000 feet. Ooh, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Like, normally when I've hiked a 14er or anything, where either with it, if it's with kids, if it's with friends, if it's me or whatever, it's like, you get to the top, it's like, okay, cool, high five, let's go. But, like, because we got to the top of Pikes and there's, like, all this going on, it's just like, yeah, we could nap. Yeah, we could clonk out. And so I don't know. I just think that it's just one of those fun memories where it's like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep literally eating my donut at 14,000 feet, and now I have to hike 10 more miles down with all these girls who are just as tired as me.
Yeah, they're already done.
And grumpier than I am. So let's do it. Godspeed. But it's super fun.
That's how you make memories right there.
Yeah. So that was just one example of one of the programs we did. That one was a week long. We had a few that were 2 weeks long. And then some of our programs we partnered with Noah's Ark rafting, whitewater rafting in Buena Vista, and would take kids rafting, which is super fun. I think in total I've rafted 12 times with them, which was really fun.
Yeah.
It's always really fun to go to BV. Have you ever been? It's just like tiny little mountain town.
Yeah.
Coffee shop, rafting.
That's one of the coolest things about Colorado is all these just small town. Like, you feel like you're in a small town, but you're just surrounded by some of the most epic scenery.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It doesn't feel real when you're there. And
I know when I got to go to Estes back in September, me and Liz the whole time we're both like, we have to move here. We have to move here.
Yeah, Estes is so sick. Estes is sick. We have some family friends that let us use their cabin. My family used their cabin over Thanksgiving, so my parents came out and my grandparents came out, and we were just in this like beautiful cabin in Estes. It had just snowed, and I mean it's winter in Estes, so it's snowing all the time. But there's like fresh pow, fresh pow everywhere, and it was insane. It was so beautiful, and I was like, man, I never want to leave. Getting up to the cabin was really sketchy though. It was like very, very icy and very, very steep, and my little RAV4 barely made it alive. But
one of those you could just look straight down.
Oh yeah, and it's like I could roll off the edge of the earth right now.
Nope.
I'm gonna die.
I don't do good in those, man. Like whenever I'm going up some sort of mountain, and if I'm on the side that's looking down the mountain, I'm like, guys, somebody switch with me, dude. I can't. I don't have a fear of heights per se. Like, you can put me up at a really high point, but I'm, like, way back from a ledge, and I'm looking out like, this is awesome. I have a severe fear of falling. And there is a difference.
It's not the fear of heights, it's the fear of rolling.
And the more, I used to say that and was like, that's so stupid. But the more I think about it, I'm like, no, that's true, though. Because some people, if they're high up, they're already freaked out. I'm not, like, if you put me high up, but I'm like, when I was in the Empire State Building in New York years ago, dude, I was trying to push my head through the bars. I was like, this is awesome, because they have, like, a concrete wall go up about waist high, and then bars that go up another 10 feet, and then they come back. And I mean, really sturdy bars. So I had no fear of falling.
No chance of falling.
So I was like, dude, this is so cool. But if none of those bars were there, and I'm right on the little thing, oh my god, I would faint.
Don't you, but, like, thinking about this now, isn't fear of heights boiled down just fear of falling? Or fear of dying?
I think For most people, yes, but I think there are some people that there's something about it. It's not even a fear of falling. I think for some people,
It's
I've
literally
heard
just being up high.
it's being up high and seeing things like that freak them out or something.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
it's the same way as like some people. Like you're in the ocean, just the thought of that dark blue water below you.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be in pretty shallow water, but if you can't see the bottom, some people are instantly like, "Oh my god."
I forget
You can't
that peop-
fall,
I
you
forget
can't-
that there's people like that.
Yeah, so
I mean, it is freaky. It is freaky
It
looking
can
into
be.
the ocean or just like seeing the whole like the first time you drive up to the ocean, I always kind of forget like, oh my gosh, it's endless.
Yeah.
It's endless, and if I go out far enough, I will be in another country.
Yeah.
Like that is so whack to me. That's super whack.
I love the ocean though, so
Yeah.
that doesn't bother me.
I'm a
too
big ocean girl. Big ocean gal.
much. Yeah. Yeah, obviously, which we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. I don't know what else I have on Colorado. You're gonna have to edit this part out. So I'm
No,
like,
it's all good.
So yeah, Colorado, that camp, did that for 2 summers, and then I got asked to come back on leadership for summer 2020, and as we all know, summer 2020 was
not quite what we
not
expected.
not quite the year for us. So I did go back. We were gonna try and put on camp this past summer, and being on leadership was such a different ballgame than being a carefree counselor because it's like, oh, I'm actually like part of the team running this.
Yeah.
And so we really didn't have a ton of time to go out and do like excursion like things. Like the previous 2 summers, it's like obviously we're on program, we're running camp for most of the summer. We did have a month of training, because for being an excursions counselor, it was a 2 summer commitment. So first summer, like when you're first year, you're learning all the systems, you're understanding where we go, you're trying to just figure all the basics out, and then second years are there to kind of help the first years learn all this stuff because there's a lot. There's a lot of different, like just small things you have to remember, a lot of safety things, obviously, when you're taking kids out doing all these things. It's like we're liable for this stuff, so just like reiterating, relearning all the like safety systems was probably the most like overwhelming to me my first summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like a totally different dynamic each summer. But yeah, we have a month of training, and at the end of that training, we go on Staff X. So it's like just the counselors, and at that point, you're super close because it's been like a month, and you're with each other every day doing all these things. So my first summer, we hiked Mount Elbert, and then so how it's set up, you hike Mount Elbert, you come back down, you eat dinner, and then you get sent out on solo. So leadership takes you out into the forest. They give you a spot. You have nothing but a like rain tarp, a ground tarp, sleeping bag, water, Bible because it's a Christian camp, journal, pen. That was it. That's all we had, and like warm clothes or whatever we needed. But we didn't eat or anything, so we got taken out into these spots, and they'd give us like a little range to stay in, and they'd just be like, "Go." Okay, see you when we're done. And like my first one, they didn't tell us how long we'd be out there, and I'm like a very extroverted person who hates being alone. And so I was like, this is my actual worst nightmare. I was like, I do not know what to do with myself. Also, this was like beginning of June, base of Mount Elbert, there's a massive lake. The mosquitoes.
Oof,
the
yeah.
mosquitoes will haunt me for the rest of my days. I could not go outside my tarp like throughout the entire day because I would get eaten alive. And then like at nighttime was the worst. They would like they gave us a rain tarp with like ropes attached to it. So it's like it's not an actual tent. It's not confined. You've got like slots. I had a mosquito kill count. I started about
Oh my god.
halfway in because in total the solo ended up being 24 hours, but I was just like I set up my tarp, my tent, my sleeping bag, whatever, and then we had hiked that day and then ate dinner. So at that point it was like maybe 8 o'clock, and they just like the mosquitoes just would creep in and they'd just like come up to your ears and sit on your face. And I had a kill count by the end. I think I'd killed 216 mosquitoes.
Wow.
And I think like hour 20 is when I started going the most insane, was like, yeah, kind of the afternoon of the next day. And I was so sick of the mosquitoes that I made I made a mosquito graveyard because I was on this ground tarp and I had like mastered the like in the air kind of catch them.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the clap or whatever, and I was using my drone to like hit them. And so they would die and they would fall on my tarp. So I just had like a ton of dead mosquitoes like on both sides of me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and make these mosquitoes fear me. And so I picked the mosquitoes up and I started to string them onto the blades of grass around my tent to try and scare off the other mosquitoes and just be like, yeah, you want to come fight me? Like, you will end up in this graveyard. And I think they took it more as like a challenge than a threat.
They got worse, didn't they?
Yeah, they got worse. Unless it was just placebo, but to me they got worse.
Mosquitoes don't care. You
No,
cannot
they do
scare
not.
them. You cannot intimidate them. Nothing.
There's
They
literally
will come
nothing.
after you.
There's nothing, and I still
Cold air seems to do the trick.
being underwater does the trick.
That's a good one too. When I was in Corpus, like I would let my dog out, and he would just go out to the. And it was always right after a rain down there because I mean it was humid, so the mosquitoes were bad. But when it rained, oh my god, like Texas mosquitoes, like times 20, like it was insanity. And I would let him out. In seconds of being outside, I saw him swarm, and then as he walked back in, my apartment would always be kind of like be real cold during summer. He'd walk in, it'd be like a wave of them came off because as they felt the cold, they'd break off from him. Oh, it was disgusting. I mean, dozens of them would just like in a wave come off.
Oh, that's so gross.
So I dealt with that for a few summers. So yeah, I know how insane those guys
I didn't know.
get.
I guess it makes sense they don't like cold. Like we never see them past September.
They won't stay. They will not stay in like in my case, it probably depends on how cold you keep your house or apartment, whatever, but they will not stay or live very long in a condition like that.
Good thing
So.
Good thing I'm going north. But yeah.
I heard up there is the flies though.
I know. Oh, I'm not even looking forward to the flies. The fly issue happened the next summer.
Oh,
same
Lord.
thing. It was on my solo during Staff X, and the flies were eating me alive. They were like these massive mountain flies. I don't even know what they're called. I don't care to know.
Horse flies?
Those.
Yeah.
And I think I'd choose mosquitoes over the flies, honestly, because mosquitoes are easier to kill, because they're slower.
Yeah.
Flies can
are
just
smart.
they
Man.
pop off.
Yeah.
They go nuts. They go so nuts. I finally figured out, and this solo was a little different. It wasn't as long, and we were allowed to move around. So I took my sleeping bag and I went next to the river, and I don't know why this worked, but I just got in my sleeping bag, put up the hood, like the mummy hood, cinched it down, and just like rolled as close to the river as I could. 1, I was cold. 2, I was tired. 3, I was sick. I had a sinus infection, and the day before we had hiked Mount Antero, and so, which was a pretty hard, it was like end of May, so still super icy and super snowy, and Mount Antero, I don't know what was going on, but the wind created like a wind tunnel effect thing, so if I looked forward, I couldn't breathe, so I kind of just had to like go like this the whole time. And then we had to use ice axes because there was so much snow, so we just like shoved the tip of the ice axe into the snow and then like use that as a handle to go along this knife edge, which is just basically like sharp rocks for a really long time. And if you're hiking that not in the snow, there's normally like a trail, but because there was so much snow, there wasn't a trail, so we kind of just were winging it.
Yeah.
So we're like on the side of this mountain using the ice axe to like bury it and to like have something to hold on to. Can't look forward because of the wind, so I'm like looking to the side. I have a sinus infection. I'm coughing and sneezing the whole time. Maybe it was COVID. Hold on, maybe I had COVID. I don't know.
That was second year though?
This is 2019.
Well, see, COVID wasn't a thing.
Maybe it could have been. I don't know.
Unless you were patient 0.
I could have been patient 0. Who knows? I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry for bringing this in.
You brought this upon us.
I'm sorry for doing this.
Yeah.
I single-handedly took down America.
Oh, dude.
No, I'm just kidding. It was a sinus infection. But, anyways, got back down, went on solo, tired of the flies, got into my sleeping bag, went to the river, and they left me alone. And I slept, I think, for 16 hours. That's how long our solo was.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was that. That was both experiences of solo. I just wanted to die because of the bugs. Not really. It really wasn't that bad. The first year, the mosquito year, is the year that there was a moose that crashed my campsite. This is what I was talking about earlier. We're obviously, it's called solo. You're not allowed to talk to anybody. I could see other of my my co-counselors, like pretty far away from me. And so I could, like, kind of see their tarps and stuff, but we were so far we couldn't talk. And I'm just, like, all curled up, like, trying not to hear the mosquitoes, like, doing my thing. And then someone's like, Hallie, you may want to, like, come out of your tent. And I was like, what? I forgot people were a thing. Like, I haven't talked to anyone in, like, 8 hours. I'm going insane. And I, like, look out of my tent, and sure enough, there's a moose, like, 5-10 feet away from me. And I was just like, what's up, guy? Like, hey, man, how's it going? And he just looked at me, just eating the grass. And so I just kind of, like, backed out and then, like, went out to the field to join everyone. And we just, like, sat there for, like, 20 minutes. And then it eventually left. And this was the worst part, was, like, we had to go back to our tents and, like, continue the solidarity.
You're like, guys, I just went through a life-threatening moment.
Yeah.
You're going to send me back there.
I was like, I would take a moose 2 feet away from me over more solitary confinement in my mosquito swarm tent.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you don't piss it off, it's just going to sit there.
Yeah, it was super chill. And then I think it ended up, it just walked away. I don't remember. But I was begging our bosses, like, can we please be done? Can that just mark the end? It's a great end to solo. Like, we can be done.
That's a high note for us, guys.
Yeah, they were like, Hallie, it's literally been like 8 hours. I was like, is it? Actually, wait, no, this had to have been like 16 or something like that, because this was the next day. Yeah, so it was 8 hours.
So you're creeping up on the end. So you're just like, guys.
Yeah, I was like, please, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think it's the moose. Like, please let me free.
Oh man.
But yeah, so that. Yeah, a lot of that job as a counselor, I haven't actually talked about the job very much, but the actual job as being an excursions counselor, like, was to take out kids doing all these things. And so that's, like, the gist of the job. Yeah. And making sure everyone's safe, making sure everyone's, like, getting their turn. Because they're, like, when there's a lot of little kids, like, for the youngest age, 10, we would have kind of these, like, easier things for them to do, but there'd be, like, 20 of them. So it's like, you're taking 20 kids climbing. You've got 5 climbs. It's, like, impossible to get everyone through. There's always 1 or 2 kids that is just straight up not having it. Like, on our high ropes course, like, I cannot tell you how many mental breakdowns there have been for kids up there, which is awesome. Like, it's not that we want that to happen, but it's, like, it's kind of, like, it's, like, something that usually stems from something deeper. When you have a kid on a ropes course who just, like, loses their mind, and it's, like, kind of a breakthrough moment, especially once you get down there safe. They know, they're like, okay, we can talk about this now. Like, there were so many kids who, like, opened up about their lives and, like, their stories and their families, and it's, like, it's crazy how, like, heights can do that. Which is true not just for the high ropes course, but also, like, I had a camper who had just a very, very hard life, and on Pikes Peak, like, just sat down, like, 3 a.m., we're hiking at the very beginning, and she just, like, sits down and is like, I can't do this, and this is why, and then just, like, lists off, like, all these things that have happened in her life, and then it's like, okay, now we spend the rest of the time, like, let's, like, talk about it, you know, let's debrief it and stuff. So that's kind of the heart behind why I really love the outdoors and why I love outdoor ministry, particularly because it's, like, it's that, but then it's also, like, because this is a Christian camp, it was, like, we're partnering with, like, teaching about Jesus, who he is, scripture, earth, like, this is God's creation, blah, 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 and combining the two, and that's what I really love about it the most, is getting to combine kind of, like, my favorite things of life into one. People, like, people, the outdoors, and then scripture, and just like getting to combine all that together, and it's just like the coolest thing. So that's kind of like, that's why I'm like, I don't know if this counts as like outdoor industry.
Oh, it definitely
It's
does.
outdoor. It's
yeah.
outdoors.
I would say it's kind of, I don't even want to say unconventional, but I would say it's very overlooked. That's what it, because that's definitely outdoor industry. It's just, I don't think if you tell people, oh, I work in the outdoor industry, they're going to be like, oh, what do you do? Are you like a hunting, fishing guide? Oh, do you go do all this stuff? Oh, are you a photographer? Like all the big mainline things. But yeah, I guess people don't always think about some of these other kind of opportunities that are out there. And I mean, hell, just lately with some of the job searching I'm doing, how many other jobs I'm coming across that are either similar to that or other very unknown things. And I'm like, whoa, never even thought about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I think it just falls in the category of people don't always realize how deep the industry goes as a whole.
Yeah.
They think of only the big main things like science and game wardens and hunting guides, but they don't think of
all the deeper stuff. And that is like, that's so true too. And this is what I realized like when I went to visit the college that I went to, and I was like, outdoor leadership, what is that? Like, how is that a major? And then I decided to go for it because I was like, seems fun. Yeah. I like being outside. I've hiked once. I can do this. And then I like get into these classes, and it's just like talking about all the different things you could do with it. Like, alumni from this major have gone and done like so many different things. Like my professor would bring in, or he would talk about this of like, there's some that go and build ropes courses. There's some people that go and facilitate like just conversation between like business people. And so it's not like an outdoor thing, but it's like you take the facilitation aspect of it and put it in a different context, and it's like it still works. And so there's like people who do that, there's people who are guides, there's people who are camp directors, there's people who are game wardens. Like there's so much to do. And I realized this, I was like, no one ever told me this in Mays High School. No one ever told me this in Wichita, Kansas, that this is like something that can happen, it's real, and it's like totally a way of life. Like it's a career. I could jump into this and have like 5 different mini careers, but it's all under this umbrella of like the outdoors. Yeah. And I think that's what's like so cool, is because I think when I think of the outdoors, I think of rock climbing, I think of hiking, I think of whitewater stuff. Yeah. I don't necessarily think hunting, fishing, game wardens, whatever else there is. It's
such a massive
umbrella thing, and it's so broad, and it's I think it brings opportunity for so many different kinds of people to coexist under just loving being outside and loving nature and finding peace in that. And it's like, it can include everybody. And I think I've felt sometimes that it can be kind of a competitive culture sometimes, especially within these like extreme outdoor sports of like climbing, mountain biking, hiking. It's like I've met people who it's like, I feel like this is a one-upping game, and it doesn't need to be. It's like, if you can walk, you can hike. If you can hold on to a rock, you can climb. So just do it. Like, don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone make you feel like you are incapable of doing it. Just do it. I've only fished once, but I can still go fish, and like, don't make fun of me because I'm not catching anything. Yeah.
Well, and I like what you said about the whole high school thing, and I don't think that's just for our high school. I've heard kids all over the place like, I didn't realize this was something out there. They didn't tell me this in high school. And unfortunately, high school or schools in general have become so, we have to meet these standards. Oh, they have to take these certain tests or blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and you don't always get the full insight as to like how deep things can go in any direction. Obviously, Kansas, we're not sitting around with huge opportunities for a lot of these kind of outdoor activities that you find in like Colorado, and so it's not something that's going to be at the forefront of your brain. But that's part of the reason I wanted to do this though too, is be able to take people that have done different things and come up and say, this is what it took for me, or this is how I've learned, or guess what, this is even a thing, like what you're saying. I'm sure a lot of people would be like, dude, that job sounds amazing. I had no idea. And you're like, I didn't either. Somebody told me and I applied and boom. So.
Yeah, and this is like, I think I think my family, just how I was raised, and both my parents have always, like, I would say one of our, like, family values is, like, find a job, find a career, find a major in something that you're passionate about and that you love and that you know you've been created to do. Like, something that fits your strengths. Like, so what if it's not engineering? So what if it's not going to nursing school or whatever? And I am just now as like a 22-year-old realizing this is not the same. Like, not everyone else has the same mindset, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. But and I said this earlier, like, I went into college knowing, like, I don't have a math brain. I don't have a science brain. I am pretty sure I have ADD, and it's very hard for me to concentrate and very hard for me to sit in a classroom for long periods of time. It's very hard for me to comprehend lectures. It's like tests freak me out. And I was like, I know I want a degree in something, but I want a degree in something that doesn't feel like a chore to go to class for. It doesn't feel like a burden to try and find a job in once I'm out of college. And so having parents who are like, no, this is awesome, like, you should try it, you should go for it. If you don't like it, like, change it. If you don't like where you are, then change it, fix it. Which I think is, like, a privilege I totally took for granted throughout college. I changed my major, like, 5 times before I landed on this. But even then, all the other majors were, like, photography, graphic design, blah, blah, blah. It was never anything, like, super big or something that's portrayed as successful. And I think a lot of what I'm very, very thankful for is, like, having a family that backed me up on trusting that this is, like, actually a doable career and trusting that it's actually, like, it's something I can do and hopefully do successfully, and it's freaking fun. Like, it's so fun. If I'm not having fun in my job or what I'm passionate about or whatever, it's like, then what's the point? Like, I always want to be able to genuinely enjoy what I'm doing, enjoy where I am. And I want to, like, show people why the outdoors are so fun and so doable. Like, I know so many people, there were so many campers that came through that were like, I can't climb that. I'm like, yes, you damn can. Put your hand right there, put your foot right there, and push. Like, you can do it. And
you just start going up.
Yeah, and you just start seeing, like, these walls breaking down when kids start to realize they can actually do these things, and they are learning that they're way more capable of doing something than they thought they were. And that was true for me too. Like, when I started in this major, when I started in college, because, like, half of my classes were, like, doing stuff outside. Like, we'd climb, we'd go backpacking. It was, like, the first time I did all those things, I was like, wait, I can do this? Hold on, wait, I can do this. And I want to teach people how to do that too, and show them that, like, no, you can, and it's so cool, and it's so fun, and everyone should be allowed to do this. It should be a very inclusive thing. And so, yeah, kind of going back to the whole, like, job thing in general, it's like, I just want to have fun, and I want to show other people how to have fun too. And that's, like, what I love about it so much. And honestly, what, like, keeps me going, because it is hard. It's hard to find jobs that can last more than a season.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're not a college student working at a camp that primarily recruits college students once you're out of college, it's like you either work in the office as, like, an administrative person at a camp, or you somehow wiggle your way into being a director, which is still a lot of office work. It's like you're not on the front lines anymore. You're not doing the guiding. And so trying to find, like, guiding jobs as a college graduate is, like, it's so scary.
But no, I like how you pointed out the engineering and the math and all it's all good stuff too. And I just saw somebody share this today. Have you ever seen Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams?
I haven't seen it, but this is the reaction I always get from people when I say I haven't seen it.
Well, no, I'm saying highly recommend. It's a beautiful film.
Matt Damon too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
And one of the best lines in the film, and somebody shared a post of Robin Williams, and they put the line over it, kind of thing. And it's just ironic that I heard it today before you mentioned all that of engineering, doctors, scientists, all these other professions are noble pursuits. But without poetry, music, all these other art, like all these other great professions, he was the line was, "Without all those, life isn't worth living." And I'm like, oh,
That's
I
so
love
good.
that.
That's so good.
I love that. You get a lot of kids, especially that they have families that are pushing, like, oh, go do this. It's going to make money. Oh, do da 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 da. And I'm just like you. I've been blessed with parents who have sat back and say, if you aren't doing what makes you happy, then you're wasting your time. Or, you only have the one life to live. So, I mean, hell, there's people out there, they love being an engineer. You don't have to go be an engineer. I mean, unless you really want to, or doctors or whatever. Go find something that's maybe not the mainline thing, but hey, maybe it'll be what works for you. So
yeah, my brother is probably gonna go to college for engineering. He's 18. He doesn't know yet what he's gonna do, but he is like, I'll probably do engineering just because I know my brain works like that. Like younger brother got all of the brains. I got none of them, which is totally fine.
I'm like, hey, what you're doing sounds a little more interesting than engineering, so who gives a damn?
I mean, he's gonna make the money though. I said, Johnny, you're gonna financially support me later
Yeah.
on, right? He was like, don't talk to me.
Like,
but he's like, I'll probably go to college for this, but he wants to be a professional gamer. And he actually, like, he plays, I don't know what it's called, Overwatch, I think. But he's on, like, a league team. He's like, I'm going to do engineering, but I also am going to keep gaming. And he's like, I don't know how to explain that to people. I'm just doing engineering because I know it's, like, what I probably should do.
Yeah.
He really isn't one of those guys that's, like, he's like, I'll do it because I know I'm good at it and it doesn't bother me. So, but he's like, but I'm also a gamer.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, hey, anybody who's gonna bash on people playing video games, dude, there's some people making bank out there.
yeah,
I saw like
dude.
an article that said a Fortnite competition. Some high school kid made like $1 million for winning the competition.
It's freaking insane.
One of his things was, my parents always gave me crap that gaming would never make me any money, but look at me now.
Look at me now.
I was like, my man.
Check out these LED lights in my room, Mom. I'm rich.
Oh man, but all right. Before we keep getting hung up on that, before I get to the final thing about the whole Alaska thing, just a little bit about, you said you started your current job right now. Obviously, you're not going to be an expert on this job, but like, why don't you explain a little bit of that, or what it's taking for you to get into that realm of things?
Yeah, my job now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in Colorado from September up until the beginning of February, and then decided to come home just for a little bit because I got a job for the summer in Alaska, which I will talk about
we'll
in a
come
second.
back to that.
But I'm back in Wichita and had some friends who work at the ski shop in town, and so I was like, hey, do you know if they'd hire me just for like 3 months because I need a job and don't know what else to do. I don't know what will hire me for 3 months. They're like, yeah, for sure. Just like come in, talk to the owner, and they'll like probably hire you. So I ended up getting a job working at the ski shop, just sending out rentals and stuff. And I've been skiing one time. I quite literally know nothing about it, other than just like how to not die while you're skiing. But like the actual skis themselves, how you're supposed to set them up. Snowboards, never snowboarded. Oh my gosh, I've skateboarded maybe 3-4 times. I don't know.
Which is completely
Which
different
is so different. So
They're both boards.
They're both boards, and you stand
on them.
Sideways.
Yeah.
But I like walk into this job and it's just like setting up stuff and repairs and like fitting people for their skis and sending out rentals, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have no experience in this. I have nothing. Which I let them know, and just I don't know, I'm trying to find this like fine line of like being very willing to learn, because that was kind of my selling point, is like I just want to learn. Like I have one ski day of experience. I have one ski day under my belt. I learn pretty quickly. I'm very, very like I work well with my hand. Like like working with my hands. So like hands-on stuff is like usually how I learn, and I do. I feel like I've been picking things up pretty quickly. But it's just like trying to like walk into this new setting, and I mean it's like pretty busy. It's ski season, so it's pretty busy. Also, Wichita having one ski shop. I would just like to clarify that it does make sense, because a lot of people are like, why does Wichita have a ski shop?
And I was one of them before we started recording. I was like, what the hell?
Think about it. It makes sense because there's so many people in Wichita, in Kansas, that go just bop over to Colorado to go skiing for like a day or two. Mm-hmm. But when you get up into the slope, like if you get up to the ski towns like Breckenridge, Winter Park, whatever, it's like renting there is so freaking expensive for one day. Like you get boots, skis, helmet, and poles for like $120 for one day. Mm-hmm. Here, like, because it's not, overpriced, and it's a dope shop. It's like all that for 2 days is like $60. So it makes sense. Plus, like if you're in Kansas, you're not gonna want to buy a whole ski set unless you're going religiously all the time, which if you are, just move to Colorado.
Yeah.
But
and it saves you money in the long run to buy your own than keep renting all the time.
Exactly. But if you're only going like twice a season, it's like easy breezy, man. So it's pretty busy. I think I learned yesterday. Yesterday was my last day of this week, and I started Tuesday. I started Tuesday. And they were like, yeah, this week was, like, insanely busy. This is, like, a mini spring break. And I was like, oh.
Awesome.
Mini spring break. That felt so busy. So I was like, oh, no.
What did I sign up for?
But it's really, really fun. And it's really cool. And really, I just want to get my hands on any sort of job related to the outdoors at all. Yeah. So if it's working at a ski shop, if it's working at an outdoor retail store, if it's like whatever, it's like as long as it's something to do with the outdoors where I'm learning something, I'm being introduced to new equipment, new hardware, how to clean things, how to size skis and snowboards for people. Just like I love that.
Yeah.
And so it's like kind of jumping in head first, and I tried to let them know as much as I could. Like I don't know a lot. Like I know very little amount, but please have patience with me. And they've been great. They've been awesome. Like I've loved working there. It's been super fun.
Basically just a resume booster to continue to go.
I hope so.
I've done this. Now,
I don't know how much it would actually boost though, because it's like I'm only there for 3 months. I guess that's technically a season. I guess season started in, like, October.
Yeah.
But it's, like...
I mean, it's 3 months. Like...
It's something.
I don't like sometimes when people shoot other people down because they've done an internship. Oh, it's only temporary for a couple months. Hell, both my internships I've done, which are only a few months long in each of them, I learn a lot.
You learned so much in such a short amount of time.
So to tell me... I feel like a lot of internships, they throw you into way more than just a particular job at times. Where you're like, start learning, buddy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't like when people are like, oh, it's only a few months. It's like, it's a few months you didn't have before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm right with you there. I'm like, I hate when like small amounts of time for jobs or internships have been underestimated, because it's like, yo, I learned so much in the 4 months I nannied in Colorado. Like, I know that's a whole different ballgame, but it's like I learned so much during that, and I've already learned so much at the ski shop, and I've learned a ton. I worked at a coffee shop in college, and like just learning how to communicate with people even is like a skill in itself. So
well, I mean, look at your resume: camp counseling, the nannying, and now the ski shop, and inevitably what we'll talk about next. But all those things versus what if somebody for the last 3 years has worked at this little store?
Yeah.
What are you bringing to the table compared to them? Okay, yeah, they worked there longer, but how much more do they know than you?
I do feel like it's very important to, like, especially, I don't know, I guess it kind of depends on the career you're in, or what kind of job, like, what kind of life you want to live, because for me, I'm like, I could totally see myself doing, like, seasonal work.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's, like, working at a ski resort for the winter, and then working in kayaking in the summer, or whatever it is.
I mean, hey, for some people, that's what they do, so why not?
Yeah, so it's, like, if that's the course you're going down, it's, like, it is kind of good to have all these little experiences here and there. And my resume is a mess. It's just a mess.
Well, to jump off that though, because what are you about to start, hopefully this summer?
Yeah, so I got a job. I got a job. I got just a little thing. I got a job in Alaska, and here's the thing.
And every single one of us, when we found out, all started going, "Oh my god!"
Here's the thing about it. I was having a moment. I was having a moment a few months ago where I was looking at just my schedule for the next couple months, and I was like, I need to do something new. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to learn something. I need to go somewhere. I need to learn a new thing. I need to be around new people. Not that anything big has happened. Like, literally, my life is pretty good. Like, I'm having a great time. I've got great people in my life, whatever. But I was just like, I just have to keep things fresh for myself. Otherwise, I get bored, and then I get sad. And I don't like being sad. So I was...
Being sad is sad,
Being sad is sad. I don't want that for myself. So I just, like, went on Indeed.com, and I feel like at this point Indeed should promote me or something, or give me, like, a sponsorship, because I'm, 100%. Like, telling everyone, like, yo, I got this job on Indeed.com. You should check it out. You
need to get a big old sticker for your seat. You're going to look like the race car driver going in kayak.
Indeed.com.
Colorado.
On everything, embroidered on my personal flotation device. So I was just like, okay, Alaska would be dope. Like, I'm just going to look for outdoor jobs in Alaska. And so I, like, signed up for getting the emails and stuff, and most of the jobs in there is just, like, UPS driver, and I was like, blah, blah.
Very outdoors.
Yeah, blah, blah, not gonna do that. And so I'm, like, doing homework a few days later, and just this email pops up that's like, see kayaking guide, easily apply. And I was like, I could do that. So I just, like, typed my name, my email, a few questions, and then I attached my resume, and, like, within a day... They emailed me back and was like, "Hey, looks like you've been keeping busy. Like, would you be interested in a interview?" And I was like, "Homie, what?" Like, hello. I was kind of like nervous. It was like a scam or something. I was like, "This feels so insane." Yeah, I'd love an interview. Like, let's do it. And so, during the interview, I was just like, I cannot stress enough how much experience I simply do not have in ocean. Like, I'm born, raised in Kansas, like, you can't get more landlocked than that. So I'm like, I don't have any experience in the ocean. I have no experience in Alaska. I don't have a lot of experience kayaking. The most kayaking I've done is in a lake, and which is flat and small. So they were just like, I mean, it was a great interview. We had a great time. Yeah, it's an awesome organization. I'm stoked to work for. I leave May 8th, and I think I get back the end of September. So it's pretty long.
Yeah, a few months there.
It's pretty long. And basically, from what I understand, I'm going to be guiding sea kayaking trips. So there's a few different locations that we'll be going. I think one of them's called the Duck Flats. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
There is a Google Doc of things I have to learn before I get there, and that is one of them, the Duck Flats. And then there's a few glaciers I think we go to. And then I don't know if I'll be doing this, but I think there's a few, like, hikes and, like, backpacking trips. I think you have to be a guide for longer with them to guide backpacking, but I think I will be guiding day hikes. I really want to get on their whitewater rafting trips, even if it's just, like, as an assistant. I was like, that's something I'm super interested in. But from what I understand, I will definitely be doing sea kayaking a majority of the time since I'm a first year. But yeah, I'm going. I'm doing it. It's gonna be cold. I am nervous for the cold, but I will adapt.
I mean, it'll be warmer. It's not going to be like Alaska's winter cold. You're going to get their summer.
Except right now, Alaska is quite warmer than
oh
us.
My God, I saw that. So as we're recording this is February 13th. This will be coming out probably a few weeks from now. But yeah, like I saw today, that was like KWCH 12, one of the local stations, posted, well, Alaska's high today is 21. Wichita, Kansas, 11. Wichita is colder than Alaska. I was like, no freaking way, dude.
Yeah, I will. I mean,
so
what's it supposed to be Monday? Like 5 degrees?
Yeah, it's like 5 high, low, negative 13 or something like that.
That goes so stupid. But today is sunny.
Yeah.
And we haven't had
16,
sun
that's warmer.
in a long time. So.
But no, dude, I know every single one of us, when we were all hearing about you getting that job, we were like, bro, what? Take us with you.
It's an insane thing that I got the job. Like, they told me, they're like, that we are taking kind of a chance on you since you don't have any experience in this. But yeah, they were like, you can learn skill. You can learn skill. I think, I have, just because of my experience in Colorado, it's like I have done guiding and I have worked with a lot of people. Yeah. Even in like small jobs, like a coffee shop, it's just like you're working with people all the time. Like you're explaining different coffees to them. But it's like just having that skill of communication and guest services and whatever, just like being fun, being outgoing, being extroverted. Not that an introvert couldn't do the job. Like, I absolutely know introverts that are incredible guides. But that
makes it easy when you're extrovert because I'm
already talking all the time. I'm already flowing. Yeah. So, yeah, I think just having that is kind of what sold me a little bit.
And I know as we kind of talked before we even start recording of, as you were saying, how you don't have any of the experience. Yeah, none. And yet you still got hired. So, I mean, that's something that for a lot of people they can take away with. And I wanted you to share that because for a lot of people, they will not apply. And I've been guilty of this too. I'm not going to say, I never do this. I've done this many times where I'll look at something and I'm like, not qualified at all. Or sometimes it's even one bar on it. I might have the list. It's qualified. Oh, I don't have that quality. I can't do it. Yeah. So, I mean, I've done that many times, and there's jobs I wonder if I could have gotten if I just said, YOLO, apply.
Yeah, honestly, that was my mindset, was like, I want to do this, and maybe it'll work out. I just, like, there's no harm in applying. Yeah. There's absolutely no harm in just putting yourself out there. The worst that could happen is they say no. Sorry. No. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, thanks. I'll look for the next job and then the next one, and it's like that can get very draining to just keep looking and keep getting shot down, but it's like just freaking go for it. Like,
but then you get the CI kayaking job in Alaska.
Yeah. Then for some miracle, I don't know, but after Alaska, I quite honestly have no idea what's happening. I mean, I have no idea.
I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people are in the boat with you right now.
Thank God. So it's just one step at a time, and I think if there's a job where you're not you don't have one of the qualifications, just go for it anyways. Just see what happens. Yeah. Just shoot your shot. It's like asking a girl on a date.
There you go.
It's like for me asking a guy on a date.
Shoot your shot, 2021.
Shoot your shot, 2021. We're coming out of a pandemic. There should be nothing holding you back. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Well, I typically like to ask, do you have any advice for people? But I feel like you've already given some.
Shoot your shot. Yeah. Apply for the job. Ask her out on a date.
I don't think we could get much better with that one. But, well, thank you for jumping on here. And honestly, we will probably have to try to get you back whenever you get done with that job so that you can tell us about it.
I'd love to. Hopefully everything runs smoothly.
Oh, man. No, I'm eager to see how that goes. I think all of us are, to be honest. So. Mm-hmm. But Hallie, thank you for hopping on here, and
of course,
easily longest podcast we've ever done. But who cares? Who cares?
Yes. Thank you for having me. This has been so good.
All right. Hey, you have a good day.
Thanks. You too.